So on that note, so I would like to talk about, like, why it's so hard to start something new. Like, the importance of just starting it. I guess is really the purpose of this video, is starting. You don't have to have all the answers in order to start. It's the journey that teaches you the answers. You know, when people are like, well, okay, I will use personally, and this is not a marketing scheme to market my Etsy shops. I don't need to market. I don't chase, I attract, and sales come to me regardless. Like, I don't do any marketing, and I get sales all day, every day, and that's only going to continue to grow and expand. But had I never, I'll say this, had I been, oh gosh, I've dreamt of traveling since I was 3 years old, 5 years old. I've been intrigued by other languages and other cultures and ethnicities and food and everything about, you know, and finally at, I think it was 33 that I took the leap. It was 2017. I don't want to do the math. When I was just tired of that, well, maybe one day. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have an income. What am I going to do about X, Y, and Z? But I don't know. And I just got to this point where I was like, I have been saying this. I was drunk in a bar, and I was looking around at this bar, and I was so tired of the lifestyle of alcohol, and, you know, the emptiness of the relationships and the friendships, the hangovers, the bar tabs, the same conversations on repeat. And my soul was screaming for something so much more. I remember looking all around, and I was doing my master's at that time, and I already spoke Spanish because I had learned at 15 with native speakers in Oklahoma all around me. I was like, there's no limit to how much I can practice Spanish. There's all kinds of immigrants here. They have Latino markets and newspapers in Spanish. Like, it's literally a question of me choosing to immerse myself in the language and becoming obsessed about it, which is a different video for a different time. So I was like, I already speak, and I was doing my master's, already spoke Spanish, and I knew that my degree wasn't for me. They were all trying to, you know, talk me into being a psychologist. I was doing a master's in psychology, you know, hey, to PhD, you can have your own practice, you can make X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And I knew in my heart, I was like, the people that need the most help, that have been through significant trauma or just in a situation of disparity and despair, they don't have $300 to pay for an hour to sit in an office and talk to me. They don't have access to those. I can still be of influence and inspiration. I can still use my gifts and my story and my recovery from my own traumas in a way that I want to, and make a much greater influence than being in an office with a PhD and sipping on, you know, my 5-star whiskey with a whole bunch of other people that have all these academic accolades. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just knew it was never going to allow me to express myself in the fullness that I felt called to, because I would always be filtered, I would always be tailored, and I would always be told how I was allowed to present myself. So Jenni never fit in any boxes. I never fit in any boxes. So there was a lady at my university that was from Colombia, and I don't know, it just, and I was thinking about doing research there to finish my master's, and of course they were wanting me to jump through all these hoops. Well, you know, if you're going to do a research project, you got to fill all this paperwork out, you got to write this mini research paper talking about the depth and background of the area and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I don't want anyone to tell me about what Colombia is before I go. I want to go with a blank slate. And not only that, but this material that I'm reading, it is only through the lens of that particular author. And I don't necessarily want to accept it as truth. I want Colombian people to tell me their truth. I want to arrive in Colombia as a blank slate, and I want to form my own opinions, and I want people to tell me what their history is. Because it's going to be different depending on who I ask and in what sociostratic neighborhood I ask. There's so many factors that go into that. So I wasn't willing to jump through their hoops. They're like, well, this is what you got to do. And I was like, okay, well, guess what? I'm not going to do research for your department. You also want what I have, because I'm a gifted researcher and a very, very, very gifted academic and scholar and writer and all that stuff. Guess what? I don't have to play by your rules. Boom. I bought a one-way ticket. And I remember I was sitting in the bar that night, and I was looking around, and I had all this university stress in my mind. And of course I was ping-pong balling around with, Jaeger bombs and vodka tonics and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, doom, doom, doom. And I was like, man, I've been in this lifestyle, in this relationship now for 5 years. Same bar, same people, same drinks, same tab, same one days. Maybe one day, oh, I want to quit my job one day. I don't like what I do. Maybe one day I'll get out of this marriage I hate. Well, no, it's easier to sit here and bitch about my partner and light another cigarette and take another shot about it. Boo-hoo, boo. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I here? I literally have enough money in my account to buy a one-way ticket, and I'll have $700 left over. Like, the only thing holding me back was fear, because we always want to expect the worst. Well, what if? But what if? But what if? But what if? I'm tired of the what ifs. I lived my life in fear and all this crap for years. Like, what if? You know, why do we expect the worst thing to happen? What if the absolute best thing is going to happen? Why can't I just enjoy the journey regardless if it's good or bad and let it teach me something? It's going to serve for my expansion. It may not be in the way that I imagined, but it's going to serve a positive purpose. Even contrast, especially contrast, serves for our growth and our expansion. In fact, our growth and its expansion would not be possible without it. So why not be out of my comfort zone? So radically, I literally got home that night, drunk as a skunk, got on my laptop, and I booked a one-way ticket to show up in Medellin, Colombia. And I walked into my department the next day. They're like, well, we need to have a meeting with the committee, with your thesis committee, if, you know, you're not going to do X, Y, and Z and you're behind on deadlines. I said, oh, it's not necessary. I won't waste your time. I said, I'm not going to do that thesis whole thing. I said, I'm going to do this other route that's not going to include all of that, and I'm still going to get my degree. And by the way, I already bought my ticket. They were like, well, did you fill out paperwork to go through the university? It's like safe that way, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't need your protection. I said, I'm fine. One-way ticket. Like, are you like, but what if, but what if, but what if? I said, I'm not worried about it. It'll either work out or it won't. I said, I might show up there and within 1 week, hate it. Then it'd be awful. And I'll figure out how to get home. Or not. Or I'll hitchhike to the beach and drift away in the ocean. I don't know. Well, I might get there and fall in love with it and never look back. I don't know what's on the other side of that. But I'm not going to have you dictating how I do it and how I have my experience. And they were like, are you sure that's the safest? Blah, 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 blah. Fear. People project fear, 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 fear. So that's a whole other video for a whole other time about why you should keep your cards close to your chest in most occasions. So, guys, I showed up in Medellin, Colombia on a one-way ticket in 2017, $700 in my pocket. Had I not ever taken that journey, it changed my entire life. That turned into, literally after 6 months in Colombia, of course there was bad shit. Of course there was dangerous shit. Of course, a lot of that was my own destructive doing because of trauma I had not dealt with. They were my foolish decisions. Guess what it taught me? A whole fucking lot. About things I never want to do again and things I will never experience again. So guess what that gave me? It gave me wisdom. For myself and for others, as a what's it called? A guidepost for other people who desire to have a similar route. Would have never known that had I not tried. That turned into, after 6 months, I was like, I don't want to go back to the States. My visa's going to make me leave. I have to leave Colombia, and I just think about coming back to the States and the programming and all the expectations and the society after seeing these mountains and having this experience and being free, like the most free, beautiful bird you ever did see in your life. Go back to the U.S. way of life and blah, 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 blah. And something in me said, you don't have to. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You have the paintbrush to your life. Literally, you are surrounded by blank slates. Every day that you wake up is a blank slate. What do you want to paint on it? Jenny, look, you are in Colombia. South of you is Ecuador. South of that is Peru. Up here, a little bit to the northwest or northeast is Venezuela. You've got French Guyana over there. You've got Brazil over there. Like, you have all these countries in this one continent. You have explored this much of one country over the past 6 months. You proved to yourself that you can do anything. You showed up in a foreign country. You didn't know anyone. You didn't know what you were going to do with X, Y, and Z. Guess what? Guess what that showed me? It all works out. It all works out. And here's the secret to that when you go into the unknown. This is a very big gem, is people want to have all the answers before they go through that threshold. The unknown is like this veil. I wish that I could, and I've had this weird thing happen where when I close my eyes, I have images and I channel messages, and I'm like, oh, if I start using these gifts, people are going to think I'm crazy that I close my eyes. I can't worry about it anymore. These things are coming out of me and I cannot hold them in anymore. But if I could describe it with my eyes closed, it would be as such. Having my eyes closed, going into the unknown is like you're literally going through a veil. And you want to have all of these preparatory. You want to have a plan B. By the way, let me tell you, if you have a plan B, your plan A is never going to work because you are dividing your energy up into other channels. Your plan A is only ever going to manifest when you do not give yourself the option for a plan B, C, D, E, F, just in case of failure. You will get what you prepare for. If you expect success and you plan for failure, you will get failure. Okay? So going into the unknown. And it's so scary because, well, I don't know what it's like there. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have what I need. But what if it's lonely? What if it's dangerous? What if I get robbed? What if people laugh at me? What if I have exclusion from society and the pain of that rejection and humiliation because I'm doing something different? What if? And those are all fears. I'm going to tell you the secret. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So when you feel fear about something, lean in. Lean the fuck in. It is trying to tell you something huge. It is trying to... My neighbor guy's coming. Oh, he didn't see me. I was like, oh, he's going to walk up here and interrupt my videos. Good. He went the other way. Thank you. So it's those fears. So when you feel the call, you know it's time to make a move when the call to do something so radically different is greater. The discomfort of that is greater than the discomfort of the fear of what's on the other side of it. You'll know you don't have any other option but to just do this thing that you've been being called to do. And you won't know, the point of this video was talking about you don't have to have all the answers. Be willing to go. Close your eyes and take the leap. Close your eyes and take the leap. It's not going to go how you expect it. I can guarantee you that. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. Things are going to happen that you're like, well, fuck, I don't know how to deal with this. And a good example of that, for example, had I said, this whole world of e-commerce, this whole world of, learning how to design leggings and building a fitness brand and that expanding out into other Etsy shops with other themes, had I never been open, and of course I had those fears, how am I going to have money for sample products? Well, what if I don't do it right? What if I don't sync my products right? What if no one likes my leggings? What if I spend time on this and no one buys anything? What if it fails? What if all this stuff? I won't know until I try. Guess what? I made a lot of mistakes. And I lost a lot of money. And times that I was out washing windows and asking to clean out people's flower beds to have an extra $40 or $60 or $100 to buy sample products to see if what I designed came out right, because that was going to give me data to know whether I was successful with my process or how I needed to improve it. Had I never embarked on that first step, I would not have now 3 different Etsy shops with a total of 13,000 products in the market. And my life is starting to so radically change that every day when I wake up now, I'm waking up to an Etsy sale. While I'm working online, continuing to build, because I have 4,000 more products in my drafts. I have 4,000 more products designed that I have yet to upload, and I have plans next year for 2 more stores. Had I never taken that first step to figure it out, all the troubleshooting along the way, guess what happened? I made my first sale. I was literally in a small village in Colombia, and I was like, I made my first sale after 4 months of my shop just sitting there and me going, gosh, I spent all this time. I spent money on designs. I spent money on sample products. I just got to this village called Venecia. My phone went off, Etsy sale, and I was like, I just made my first Etsy sale. Oh my God. Somebody bought my first pair of leggings, and it was a plus size pair of leggings. There was a curvy queen out there who saw my design and was like, I want to showcase my legs in these leggings. I created that from my heart and my soul, from my energy, for her. Oh my God. And then I was like, why won't it sync? Why isn't it syncing? I had done everything wrong. At that point, I had, I think, 30 designs on 2 different styles of leggings. That was 60 products plus like 10 different tank top designs and 10 sports bras that matched. I had done all of it wrong. And I was in the village. I just got there, didn't have my laptop, and I told the guy I was trying, my gay husband, Sebastian, I said, I have to leave right now. I said, I have to go back to Hardin, my other village where I was staying, and I said, I have got to figure this out right now. This is my business. She bought from me. She trusted me with her business. I made a mistake, and I've got to go figure it out right now, because that's the hat of the CEO. And had I never, and then guess what that taught me? Taught me how to do it right. 13,000 products later, bet. Next year, at least 25,000 products on the market. And there are times I'm like, oh, it's tedious, or, what I really want to be doing is traveling, making YouTube videos, documenting my experiences, doing documentaries, doing interviews with local women. As my brand on my YouTube channel and my book series is Unhidden Heroines, which I'll get more into later. Those of you who've read my book and know my story understand it. It's a deep concept. I want to be interviewing women when I meet these unhidden heroines. Holy shit, this woman's story. Beautiful things come out of trauma and tragedy if you choose to allow it. And documenting. So, guess what? The more, every time I publish products and do all these things, I'm planting seeds for my future. There's no limit to how much I can create, and there's no limit to how much I can sell. And I have it set up with Printful that every time somebody buys a product, there's an automatic slip that goes into the package that gives a blurb about my book on Amazon and a blurb about my YouTube channel. It's free marketing. Etsy does marketing for me. I don't have to spend time doing that. I can spend time doing things that are my passion. So all I have to say, I would have never known. Guess what? When I wrote my book, I looked high and low for an example of how this book should be laid out. I had a very strong story. It was going to be controversial to a lot of people if I told my truth. How much should I tell? Who should I reveal? Do I cover names up? There's some that are impossible to cover. People are going to know who they are. I don't know. And I looked up on YouTube. I looked up books about writing memoirs. Guess what? I couldn't find the advice I was looking for. Guess what I had to do? Blaze my own trail. What I'm going to do is I feel inspired to do it. And my editor, she's one of those book nerds that reads like 1 or 2 books a week. She has these books, like these goals per year. I mean, she's an avid reader. And when she was editing my story, I said, Kristen, how do you think my book's going to go over? I said, I literally just wrote. I didn't have it. And people were saying, well, you need to have an outline. It's fucking university bullshit. That's why I quit doing academic work. Don't tell me how to write and say in this little box. I don't fit in a box anywhere. Literally, she said, I've never read a book like this. I have no idea how it's going to be. It's been a raging success. It's won 2 international awards. And it's not about sales. It's not about accolades. It's not about any of that. It's about influence and inspiration. Guess what? I blazed my own trail. Had I been like, oh, I don't know. It's going to be different than everyone else's. Maybe no one's going to read it. And so what? But point. If you don't start, you won't know. If you don't start, you won't know. If you don't start, you won't know. You don't have to have all the answers to go forward. You don't have to have all the answers. The journey is going to teach you the way. And that's the thing. When you go into the unknown through that veil, through that threshold, your only responsibility is to trust and go through it. Let the universe help you. Let your spirit guides help you. Whatever that is for you, if you have a particular religion, if it's spirit guide, source, universe, whatever. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Get the message. Just trust. My heart is feeling led X direction. I don't have all these answers. Where in the world is this money going to come from? You want me to start what business? You want me to invest in real estate? You want me to do this? You want me to do this? All you need to do is be willing. All you need to be willing to do is face your fears. That doesn't cost a penny. The power is all in here. You have all of the power.